Hi. Testing, testing. One, two, three. Guys, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Let me turn my mic up a little bit. I see the judge. I'm about to bring him on. I don't see him on camera, so maybe he's still fixing stuff. But hi, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy post Super Bowl. Go Eagles. I'm so glad that they won. I wanted Jalen Hurts to win a Super Bowl. And the whole Philly wanted them to win because I'm tired of Taylor Swift ass. I'm glad Trump was there to take the spotlight off of her. And I was very impressed and enjoyed Kendrick Lamar's halftime. And we're gonna get into that throughout the show. Sound perfect. Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you, Katalia, Joyce, Barb, evolving with Queen Christy Love. All right. I do have a little monologue. I see. I don't know if the judge is ready because I don't see him on camera. So maybe I have a little bit of time. Um. Oh yes. What was my okay? So some people have been making comments in the comment section about email. If you go to the about section, you can find my email address there. My email address is danawiththedata@gmail.com. I thought I had it in one of these things here. I guess not. I gotta upgrade this. So yeah, go there. If you need to send me an email about anything, um, you know, questions or whatever, you want to send me information or whatever, danawiththedata@gmail.com. And then also the website, therealdananetwork.com. Please go there and sign up to the mailing list. Oh, I need to update this. Oh, it's going across the screen anyway. Let me see something. Are you ready, Judge? Okay, I'll come back to you. All right, that's what I'm saying. I didn't see him on camera, so I have a little bit more time. So yeah. And guys, please share the video. Thumbs up, thumbs up. So like and share and join the conversation in the chat. I did start a goal, right? So if I reach the goal, we will extend this live an extra hour. And yeah, did not like Kendrick Lamar at all. Then I can't stand Taylor Swift. So but we are going to talk about it. I'm pulling the judge into the pop culture BS. I am. He doesn't like it, but I'm going to do it anyway. So anyway, I decided at my monologue while we wait for the judge. This was breaking news. Let me share this. So this was breaking news. Representative Larson Stable, he is stable after medication scare at Capitol, right? He was on Capitol Hill. This is a Democrat from Connecticut, Representative John Larson. He was giving his 5-minute speech tonight. And it says Connecticut Congressman John Larson experienced a medical episode today from a new medication, but remained engaged in office duties after being checked by the House physician, right? Um, but here's the thing. Some people are now saying that Congress people should have term limits, should have age restrictions. I'm kind of not, I used to be for age restrictions, but then I said, you know what, that's discriminating because the older I get. It's not an age thing, it's a health thing. Some people stay in office far too long, but I do think it should be some type of term limitations on people in Congress. But I want to play this clip of him.
Don't worry, No one on the Republican side in the House and Senate who control both the House and Senate is going to speak up and challenge us.
Oh, wow.
But we need to protect Americans' privacy and their social security. For 40% of all Americans, Social Security is the basis for their retirement and their retirement savings. And for 28 million Americans, Social Security is the only thing that they have. And that's why we have to make sure that we are protecting it as well.
The gentleman's time has expired.
That's that was a little bit awkward, but see, here's the thing. He is okay. And it could have been a little snafu with his medication. I don't know. But for me personally, it looked like he probably was on a verge of having a mild stroke. And maybe that was going through his head. Because if you saw his tongue, he was like on the left side, and usually that's the side that's affected. I'm just saying. However, should there be term limits for people in Congress? Because he's 76 years old. He's been in Congress since 1999. That's 27 years. So, yeah, I think there should be a term limit. It's not about the age. I think you should be healthy, meaning you should have all your mental capacities. Yeah. But I think a lot of times these people are in office far too long. Nancy Pelosi. Who was the other guy from the Republicans? I can't believe I forgot his name. I'm drawing a blank. He actually literally, I think, didn't he have a stroke on camera? I forgot his name. It can't be one term, because one term, unless they extend the term from 2 years to 4 years or 6 years or something like that. But it can't be one term, because in the House there's only 2 years. I'm replying to Voodoo. But Mitch McConnell, he's still in office and he's being wheeled around a wheelchair. Trust me, he is not working to his full capacity when we come to his mental state. So, should there be term limits? Yes. Should there be an age limit? No. But should there be health concerns? Yes. And I think the judge is ready. Hi.
I don't think there should be term limits. There should be no age restrictions, because the congressman in question is not representing you. He's representing his constituents, and that's their choice. And unless you have a constitutional amendment, there's no way to get around it. The other thing is it's got nothing to do with age. Look at this dumb, stupid idiot they have. What's her AOC? And that other one from Texas and the alien. Yeah, stupid damn fools. They aren't even 30 years old. So what's age got to do with it? If they want somebody that's like this, that's up to them. See, you have a sovereign entity, a state, and it's entitled to a certain number of representatives in the House and a certain number of senators. And
oh my God.
We're talking about somebody else's. Now, the other thing about term limits, frankly, as dumb and ignorant as so many of them are today, they get termed out before they learn what the devil they're supposed to be doing while they're there. It's very complicated. Most of them do not have a clue as to what Robert's Rules of Order is about or how to operate a meeting, or shall we just say they are ignorant of parliamentary procedure. It takes them years to learn. They don't know the ins and outs of an institution like the House or the Senate, which has arcane rules, but they're quite necessary in order to conduct business in an orderly fashion. And there's a thing called Robert's Rules of Order, which it takes a while to get conversant on. The other thing is, unless you want 22-year-olds with an associate degree running the country, you need very experienced people who have had years to learn the arcanery of certain kinds of very complex issues. See, we have legislation, we have law, just about anything. If there's a rule, if there is an act that allows something, that's a law. If there is an appropriations of money, that's a law. And these laws can get complicated, and you have a situation where a lot of the senior congressmen are just learning enough so they don't depend upon a 23-year-old who nobody knows and has got a bad attitude drafting stuff for them, because they're more concerned with social programs than they are about the complex legislation that they need to be on top of. Now, I've talked to some of these people, and some of them are outstanding examples of what's supposed to happen. They're walking encyclopedias of arcane and necessary knowledge. And then there are some dumb idiots. I was just reflecting on Maxine Waters. I was talking to Valerie Denise, that I usually did a Friday show with. We were there, and we had Maxine Waters playing in something. She was upset with some homeless people who were demonstrating against her ineffectiveness. She says, "Oh my God, why don't you just get off the streets and go home?" And somebody said, "Fool, that's the problem. We don't have a home to go to. What's the matter with you?" See, so she's been that ignorant most of the time she's been in Congress, just like AOC. So what's age got to do with it? You start with a young, dumb idiot, you get an old, dumb idiot. And what's going on is too many people aren't familiar with their careers, and all they see is the old, dumb idiot. But then you have people like Donald Trump. He's just 18 months, 28 months difference between him and that senile Joe Biden.
Right.
And then Barbara Cooper around Memphis. She was in the state legislature going on 95 years old, attended every meeting, could tell you in detail like she was an encyclopedia what was going on. She slipped and fell, hurt her hip, got a blood clot, and she was out of there. But, she was one of the better representatives that Memphis had up there.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them, they collect a check and they get the bribes under the table, and they act like they don't have a bit of sense. And it doesn't depend on their age. It just depends upon their integrity, their acumen, their intelligence, their exposure to life, their experience and learning when it comes to the subjects that they have to deal with, and whether or not they're wise in the ways of the world. And a lot of them are not any of that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I said this because, because first of all, we should not be age discriminating. I do think for the House, they only get 2 years. Maybe they should extend it, and then maybe it should be some type of limit, even though, yes, their constituents in their district are the ones voting for them, but sometimes they don't have any choice but that main candidate. And so if you have some type of term limit for the House representative, it gives a chance for fresh faces and sometimes better people.
Why do you need fresh faces?
Oh, let me finish. When I say fresh faces, because like you were saying, if you get somebody young and dumb, they're going to end up being old and dumb. What if it's somebody, whether they are older or younger, it doesn't matter. Fresh faces meaning they have better agenda. They're more of a statesman than a politician, and they're probably going to have better results than that seasoned politician.
But the point is, who wants that?
Who wants what?
That you want it, but does the district that elects
No, I'm
somebody
talking.
you
No,
don't
no, no.
like want it?
Right. No, I just said that a lot of times these districts who vote these Congress representatives into office, they don't have much to choose from.
They have a lot to choose
No,
from.
they don't.
Every district has approximately the same number of people. So you're saying that there are deserts in America where there are no smart, wise people. You're saying that everybody in that area is too stupid, and you have the same number of people voting in a district in Los Angeles, California, as you do in Memphis, Tennessee, as you do in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina, as you do in Atlanta, Georgia, as you do someplace down in Florida or in New York. So you're saying that depending upon where you live, you may have a desert of intelligence where there's nobody there.
Not so much a desert of intelligence. It's just it may be a desert of different candidates. And then two,
That's not.
let me say this. A lot of times when you have these politicians like an AOC or these, long-term politicians, their pack is having their war chest is filled with millions of dollars from people.
From who?
From organizations, whether it's
then why don't we do grassroots fundraising for guys we like? They did that for Trump. The Democratic Party had all of the slick organizations, Hollywood, Madison Avenue, PR going forward, had a huge war chest, and they picked a humping hyena for their candidate. She didn't. The people said no. So, I mean, you see, here's the thing. All of the time when you have an election season, it's filled with reports of the incumbent who didn't make it. So if the people who are represented don't want the person, they don't put them back in. What we talk about is always from the perspective, and this is a reality of political science. When somebody bitches about congressman, interestingly enough, it's always somebody else's congressman, but not theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And the deal is, it's none of our damn business, except that congressman can be either an adversary or an enemy or a friend or an ally, depending upon where they're coming from. And by the way, as to why they don't change the system, why do you think they don't? Because it's been proven to work. See, the American system is based on the model of the Roman Republic, which carried over into the Roman Empire.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is the Romans, starting almost 2,400 years ago, had the House of Plebes. That's the House of Representatives. They had the Roman senators. That's the U.S. Senate. The Roman senators were appointed by the Senate, and they held their positions for life. Mm-hmm. And it was hereditary. The American Senate was not elected until fairly recently. It was appointed by the governor or the state legislature. And the idea was they were in for 6 years. They were immune, supposedly, to the popular passions, and they could reflect mature judgment and dispassionate analysis. And every state had 2 senators. Meanwhile, like the Romans had with the House of Plebes, you had the House of Representatives, which means the same thing. And that was based on population. And they served just 2 years to reflect the popular will. So you balance the popular will against wisdom and discernment, sophistication, and accumulated knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the same system that we have. And one of the people, Jefferson, is discussing this with Madison, and somebody says, why do we need 2 houses, a bicameral situation instead of just one? And the respondent says, why do you pour your tea into a saucer? He says, to cool it off. He said, that's exactly why we have 2 houses proposed. Mm-hmm. Senate and the House. The Senate, there are 2 per state, no matter how big, and that evens off the number based on population that is in the House of Representatives. So it's a check and balance thing. And there are some good people that are in there. And then there are some poor ones. And then there's the other thing too. A lot of times there is an arcane something that's going on, and somebody remembers something from 39 years before when he had just gotten in, and he says, hey, wait a minute. You know what? There's something that might apply to this. You need to check this out. And they go and say, oh, wow, you have these bills now where there are 12,000 pages in the bill. And that's just one law with some various and sundry sections. And it's in another 120,000 words, something or another, that's fairly short, not 120,000 pages, but and it deals with another subject, and you have to put it together. Classic example is during the Obama administration, they passed a $781 million bailout, $581 billion bailout bill to bail out Goldman Sachs, Smith, Barney, etc. 43 congressmen and senators wrote a letter to the attorney general demanding prosecution of whomever was sending this government money out to failed executives to pay bonuses that they didn't earn. They withdrew their letters when they found out that they had all voted for a provision that allowed just that. It was drafted by Geithner, who was at one point chief consultant for Goldman Sachs, one of the primary beneficiaries, and he wrote it in the bill when he drafted it. And Obama's administration pushed it. So they backed off, but you see there's this kind of knowledge about bills that a lot of these people that vote on them are unaware of. They were assigned these committees. They don't want to be on there because they have a social agenda they think's more important than the business of running the country. And it is left to the more mature heads who've been there for years who actually do the business, while these other people grandstand. Remember me telling you, you don't want to be bothered with it because all they're going to do is be making speeches. They're not going to be asking questions of the candidate. This is just a committee. There will be recommendations that have absolutely nothing to do, for the most part, with any remarks, let alone answers to these other remarks that aren't questions, and it'll be up to the body.
Well,
that's what you get.
All right. I want to move on to the Super Bowl. So I want to teeter into pop culture, and then we'll bounce back to politics. I want to mix it up a little bit. So you don't watch football. I do.
don't anymore. I played it in high school and college, and it bores the hell out of me now.
That's fine.
There are too many games, and the talent pool is spread too thin to go around all the teams they have.
That's fine.
Rules are too soft and
Okay,
and
okay,
that's
fine.
they get paid too much.
Well, I enjoy watching it, and so do millions of other people.
Well, they can. That's why Julius Caesar said, give them bread and circuses, feed them, and give them gladiatorial contests. And this isn't even gladiatorial anymore. It's too delicate. So
are you gonna cut me off every time I say something?
I just don't want to be in it. You keep involving me. I tell you, I don't like it.
Okay, but are you still gonna cut me off? Didn't I just say we're going to talk about pop culture, and part of it is the Super Bowl. Now, there's certain things I do want to highlight about the Super Bowl. So please stop cutting me off. So I watched the Super Bowl yesterday. I wanted the Eagles to win. They won. I enjoyed it. I even enjoyed the halftime. I even enjoyed the fact that Trump was there and stole the light from Taylor Swift. So I wanted to show this clip of the Super Bowl. Let's see, what does it look like? Oh, okay, yeah. So this is the moment during the national anthem, and when the screen panned to Trump, everyone started singing. But so later in the game,
what did I just see? I didn't see. What was the applause about?
Because this was this was during the national anthem. So when the camera panned to Trump, that's when you heard the applause. They were applauding him.
So he was up on the billboard screen or something?
When the cameras, he's in the stands, but the camera put him up on the jumbo screen, and then that's when the stadium started applauding. So when they did the same thing later in the game with Taylor Swift, they started booing her. So they booed Taylor Swift and gave Trump a big roar of applause.
Fearless leader. They haven't had a celebrity fearless leader since Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
So yeah, so that was that. And I really like that because I'm tired all season long, because Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce, and every time she's at the games, it's all about Taylor Swift. So I'm glad.
Who is the person she's dating? That's supposed to be somebody of significance.
Yeah, Taylor Swift is a worldwide superstar. So
I don't like her music.
The guy on the you've heard of her. You've heard of her.
I've heard of her, but I don't care. Go ahead. And so
the guy on the football team, Travis Kelce, he's like one of the stars on the football for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, so why would I care?
Well, most people care because they're dating, right? So we don't care because everyone got sick of her being at the games and all the attention will be on her. So that's why I'm glad that Trump showed up at the Super Bowl and they were applauding him and booing her. However, what you were saying?
Okay.
So the halftime show, you did not watch none of this. This is what I'm saying. I'm just pulling you in a little bit.
I'll be pulled in. It's boring.
Kendrick Lamar, he's a rapper. You don't listen to rap music. He performed during the halftime show, right? And I enjoyed it. But what was surprising to me, and I'm about to put you on the spot in a second, but let me just share this. What was surprising to me was Samuel L. Jackson played Uncle Sam during the opening of the halftime performance. He's supposed to be Uncle Sam. And you have a story about Samuel L. Jackson.
I'm not going to tell it because he's a nice guy, but it's not him being gay or anything like that. That's got nothing to do with it. But it's his stuff and he keeps it private. So
it's nothing private. It was a joke. It was a funny story.
Yeah, but I'm not going to
friends with him, and anybody could get it. We talk about any and everybody.
Tell it because I respect him for what he does. He's not one of the punks out in Hollywood, but
but he's the other.
What?
But he was acting other, not gay, but
You're talking about Django and the Butler?
Yes.
He does that kind of thing every now and then, so that's on his conscience.
So can we tell the story?
No, I'm not.
You act like it's some big thing.
I'm not going to tell the story. I don't count him an enemy. If he became an enemy, I'd tell the story.
You talk about people who are not your enemy.
Yeah, they're enemies because they support something I detest and despise. Negritude on the plantation.
Well, that's true because Tina Turner, Al Green, Nikki Giovanni.
Nikki Giovanni was talking about breaking up the family, the traditional nuclear family. She said many occasions I heard her, even jumped her stuff about it at a BSU meeting years ago. She said the traditional nuclear family is a form of slavery. I didn't like Tina for the way she acted and how they sat there, and somebody that Ike, for whatever they say in the movie land, we knew him from when I grew up in South Central LA. He was always going down in the hood, encouraging the young brothers to stay straight and keep your heads on right and do the right thing. So we liked him. We liked Tina. And who was the other one we talked about? You just mentioned. I think you mentioned
Al Green.
Al Green's a punk. He's got a problem.
Because he owed you money.
He owes me $5,000.
Yeah, but we're not going to get into
Time I saw him, he turned around and run at Memphis Airport. He's too fat to do that now.
Yeah. Well, all right. Sticking on the Super Bowl, right? Again, I enjoyed it.
Stole $5,000 of my money and coked it up.
Yes, we know.
That's what I don't like about him.
Well, going back to the Super Bowl, every Super Bowl now they do play the national anthem, and people call it the Black national anthem, but it was written by a Black man, but he was writing it for all of America. However,
what national are we talking about?
The Black national anthem.
What is that?
How it go? I forgot how it go.
What's the name of it?
The Black national anthem.
Never heard of it.
Yes, you have.
What is it?
Wait 1 second. Let me pull up the lyrics so I can sing it. Oh, lift every voice and sing.
It's a begging song. Everybody else in the world's national anthem is.
You don't even know the song.
Great song. I know the song. I've heard it for the last 70 years. And it ain't gotten anybody anywhere.
But the Black man that wrote it, he wasn't writing it for Black people to be begging. He was writing it for all Americans.
Yeah, we need another national anthem. The national anthem is sung to an old English drinking song.
Which the one we have now.
Yeah, and let me tell you about it. It was only adopted in the 20th century. It's not old. It was written by Francis Scott Key while he was watching bombardment of an American fort during the war.
Wasn't he a slave owner?
Well, yeah, he was. And part of the third stanza talks about putting slaves in their grave who would rise in rebellion. And the thing of it is that they picked an old English drinking song for the music. And the thing about the drinking song is people would be in a pub or an inn and they'd be getting drunk. And it's a dull tune. And the idea was to see how drunk you could get and still sing the song. But in the 20th century, we put late 19th century, almost 100 years after, 80 years after it was written, we decided to pick the music to an English pub drinking song, which was designed to be just like it was, so you could see how drunk you could get before you couldn't sing it anymore. And nobody can sing that who's not a professional singer.
Well, true, but okay, so lift every voice and sing. So this is the Black national anthem.
Goddamn much anyway.
Till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. That's an American. That's for America.
It's crap. The rest of the national anthems in the world are about somebody fighting.
It's about fighting and winning.
You know, or you know, you got something like that where it makes the troops pick up their heels and march more vigorously, and you feel like fighting. It's like what happens at a football game when the band kicks in and the team gets a little extra boost of spirit. We have a national anthem that's very difficult to sing. It's to an English drinking song.
How many times you already said that?
And this thing we have right here is some Negro hope. Dark past has taught us, and you know, like, okay, fine, come up with something that's going to inspire you to do something. That doesn't do anything.
It's about a victory being won.
Well, yeah, but are they talking about fighting for the victory? No.
Yeah.
They're talking in the Star Spangled Banner. What Key is talking about is there's a battle going on, and the English are trying to take this fort. He's in the unique position of being an American on board an English warship trying to negotiate the release of prisoners of war. So
right, let me read the second part of the letter.
It does not disappear in the face of the bombardment where the mortar rounds are coming in and exploding. The rockets are being launched in to explode inside the fort. And
let me read the other part of the let me read the other part of Lifted. It says, stony the road we strode, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers died. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered, out from the gloomy past till now we stand at last where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, though who has brought us thus far on the way, though who has by thy might lead us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we meet thee, lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world we forget thee, shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land.
I memorized the words. It's a good song.
I think it's a beautiful song.
It's a good song for Negroes.
No, I think it's a good song for Americans.
Fine, not this one.
So I wanted to play this clip of this guy. Let me pull this back so I can catch his name. Armstrong Williams. He owns a radio station. I think it's called The Sun down in DC, and he had similar words like yours regarding the Black National Anthem. So that's why I played him.
Yet again, the National Football League has decided to desecrate the sacred American sport of football, a sport that has united Americans for decades by playing the divisive Negro National Anthem before the game. Now look, I certainly have no problem with there being a Black American National Anthem, but there's a time and place for everything, and the Super Bowl is not the time nor the place. We don't play the Asian American National Anthem, the Muslim American National Anthem, the Indian American National Anthem, the Native American National Anthem. What has caused us to play favorites with certain Americans over every other race during the Super Bowl? What is it? The point is, the moment you start playing favorites, you inevitably exclude everyone else, everyone. And you start controversy, which we don't need in sports. It's a place for us to heal and unite, not to divide. This is why we shouldn't play favorites at all. It's why we should sing only the United States National Anthem, an anthem made for all Americans that includes everybody, regardless of race, color, or creed, because that is what people don't seem to understand. Yes, America has had a marred past with racial injustice, just as every other country has. But our national anthem has always stood for one thing and one thing only. Not white Americans, not Black Americans, but Americans. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, the national anthem is your anthem. And when that beautiful song is sung, it is sung for every American, everywhere. I'm Armstrong Williams, live from Super.
He's got a point, but it's not mine. And as far as it goes, I don't like that national anthem, but I respect it because it is the national anthem that reflects where I live. But that Negro anthem is Negro. That ain't mine either. And as far as what he's talking about, the third stanza of the Star Spangled Banner is one of the most racist things you can talk about. It is filled with references to putting Negro slaves in their graves who would dare to rise up against their rightful condition of being slaves. So it's not a pleasant thing if you really investigate it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is what it is. So the other country that's got a rather sorry national anthem is Great Britain, that long funeral dirge that they have, God Save the King. So, I mean, you know, it's a matter of taste. So it is what it is. Everything, nothing's perfect.
Mm-hmm. So one last thing, right? And again, this conversation talking about the Super Bowl specifically, is mainly for the audience because first of all, you do not listen to hip. You don't listen. Do you listen to any type of rap?
No, I've listened to
Have
it.
you ever?
It bores the hell out of me because it's about 45 years old, and that's too long in this culture for music to be staying on top. It's like if I were that age now, I'd be listening to what my parents listened to when they were 20 years old, and I'd be 20. That's ridiculous. We've got the same music being played and folks 70 years old, 65 years old dancing to it that the 18-year-olds are dancing.
I want to ask you, have you ever watched any Super Bowl halftime performance?
Yeah, they're pathetic.
So
They're
you didn't like, you don't like,
horrible.
you never like, it's not one Super Bowl halftime performance you could say you enjoyed.
Even the commercials used to be entertaining 30 years ago. Now they're designed for 9-year-old, 8-year-old kids who get.
What about the performances from 30 years ago? Whether it was Michael Jackson?
It wasn't about halftime performance because it was a football game, not family entertainment. Now they made it family entertainment, and they have G-rated halftime shows, which are incredibly boring.
Mm-hmm.
And the acoustics are bad in most stadiums. So the music, the sound effects, the whole thing sounds messed up. The performances, they have to tailor them because, speaking Taylor Smith, but what about, let us not forget how hypocritical it's been. Remember when they had the wardrobe malfunction with Janet Jackson and everybody went heebie-jeebie, panicked and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have at the Lakers playoff game, you got ugly looking Lizzo with her fat hippo behind, oiled down in a black thigh-length t-shirt with the butt cut out and that bare piece of flab bouncing around for 3 to 4 minutes in front of children all over the nation while they're watching the Lakers in a playoff. Yeah. They used to have interesting commercials. People used to look forward to the innovative commercials. Now they're dull and boring, and they get the kids voting in, and the 9-year-olds, the 8-year-olds vote in a Snoopy something in the Macy's Day Parade in New York, which is incredibly boring.
Mm-hmm.
So why watch it? They have the yellow lines generated by computers on the football field because everybody's too big a dummy to figure out the rules. They don't know what the chain is to measure the downs. And then you get, this is where the scrimmage line is. This is how far they have to go for first. And nobody knows what they're looking at. And people go to a ball game. This was a bad field. They must have had all of the devices broken. What do you mean there were no yellow lines on the field? Fool, that's computer generated for your TV screen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you walk into a bar, and that really gets pathetic. I used to be a bartender years ago.
Can we save that story for another day?
This is directly applying to this. and they would have the loud music because some of the patrons were too lame to have games. So if the music was too loud to talk over, all they'd have to do is grunt, and they wouldn't have to carry on a conversation for 2 hours, just get the date drunk. That's what they're doing right now when you walk into a pub and they have 25 TV screens with 10 games on. It's to absorb everybody in the game, so the people that don't have a game or lame, they don't have to talk. They can all look at the TV sets instead of conversing with each other.
All right. So what Trump also did during Super Bowl Sunday, he brought back the pregame interview, president interview, because presidents used to drop an interview with a major news network before the Super Bowl. And I guess they stopped doing that in recent
That
years.
was not what it started off being. I saw just about every one of the first 15 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
So,
but that was in the 1950s and 60s.
no, it wasn't in the 1950s. It didn't start in the 50s. So
It
anyway,
started in the 60s.
60s, yes.
Yeah, that was who.
So I saw the first one.
You're talking about the 60s Super
Yeah,
Bowl. Nobody cares
didn't
about the
have any
Super Bowl back then.
thing. It was just football.
All right, I want to play this clip of Trump, of his interview before the Super Bowl.
You know, the Prime Minister said this weekend to a group of Canadian businessmen, he was at a private meeting, he said that your wish for Canada to be the 51st state is a, quote, real thing. Is it a real thing?
Yeah, it is. I think Canada would be much better off being a 51st state because we lose $200 billion a year with Canada, and I'm not going to let that happen. It's too much. Why are we paying $200 billion a year, essentially in subsidy to Canada? Now, if they're a 51st state, I don't mind doing it.
You know, the Prime Minister.
Canada does not need to be the 51st state. It needs to be the 51st through the 60th state. There are at least 10, probably 20 discrete geographic and political entities up there in Canada that would make it 20 states. We talked about Francis Scott Key in War of 1812. The United States made a big error at the end of that war when it wound down in 1815. They should have marched up to Canada and they could have annexed it easy enough, but they didn't. And they made a bad mistake. They should have. It would have made things a lot smoother for the North American continent had they done it.
All right, let me play the second clip.
Mr. President, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Happy Super Bowl.
Thank you.
You know, you are going to be the first sitting president to attend a Super Bowl. It's a big day for America, always is. What made you want to do it?
Well, first of all, I'm very surprised to hear that. I would have assumed many presidents came, but I think just the spirit of the country's taken on a whole new life. I thought it would be a good thing for the country to have the president be at the game.
It's an iconic day.
It's an iconic day. It's going to be a great game, two great teams, and let's see what happens.
It was a new thing, fairly new, when presidents started calling after the game to congratulate the winning team. Ronald Reagan got a lot of hostility when for the first time they had a black quarterback. I believe he played for the Washington Redskins, and the Redskins won. And this was in the 1980s, and President Reagan declined to call and congratulate the winning team. There was a big upset amongst the Negroes and other folk, pre-woke folk. So, yeah, no president came. He's the first one. Rest of them, they called after the game, if they watched it.
So this is the last thing on the Super Bowl. This is what Donald Trump posted on Truth Social. He's like, the only one that had a tougher night than the Kansas City Chief was Taylor Swift. She got booed out of the stadium. MAGA is very unforgiving. That's why I'm like, I'm glad he was there because he is the king of trolling. I don't think anyone can out troll Donald Trump, President Trump.
He's a superstar, celebrity, president of the United States. We haven't had one since Roosevelt.
Now, did you know he signed an executive order renaming Gulf of Mexico? Now it's called Gulf of America.
Well, that's what we can refer it to, but the rest of the world may have its own idea.
Well, if you go to Google Maps here, it now says Gulf of America.
Well, let me ask you a question. Where does the 3-mile limit run? Unless you're going to be like China and claim a 200-mile radius from various items in there. So what's China going to call it? What's Russia going to call it? What's England going to call it? What's France going to call it? What's Portugal going to call it? What's Spain going to call it? What's Greece, Turkey, Italy? What are they going to call it? See, the point is what's it known by in the rest of the world? It doesn't really do anything beyond symbolic if you name something and you can't compel other folk to call it that.
True. All right, one more thing on pop culture, and then I'm gonna leave you alone with pop culture. I promise.
And by the way, how about renaming New Mexico, the state of New Mexico? Since you
I
can't.
think that's a good idea.
Yeah, and by the way, that was one of the last states that got incorporated into the Union in the 20th century.
Okay. All right. So, well, this is the last thing for the pop culture, and like I said, I'm gonna leave you alone with it.
Boring.
So Kanye West, you're familiar with Kanye West.
I know who he is, yes.
I saw your eyes go. Why you roll your eyes?
Go ahead.
So he went on a crazy Twitter X rampage. He was tweeting all this mess, and he's now deactivated his account. So over the weekend, he put Jewish people actually hate white people and use black people. All white people are racist. All you broke ass nigga bitches, hunky Jews, is whatever. He was, and then he was like, "Oh, I just woke up, took a nap, and I don't regret nothing. I posted blah blah blah." And he now today deactivated his X account. Now, question I want to ask you, because he do take medication. First, he was diagnosed with bipolar, and I guess now he's like have autism. I don't know, but he takes a pill. Do you think is his mental health that causes him to do that, or is he just a celebrity wanting attention so he could sell whatever? Like it's like a marketing ploy.
I don't give a damn.
I know, but I want you to still answer.
I have no idea because it's not worth my thought process. It's a waste of time.
But you were in Hollywood, so you know how weird they are.
Sleazy, it was one of the most racist jobs I ever had. I've never been surrounded by a more despicably unprincipled, amoral, lacking in character bunch of people in my life. I've represented criminals who had more character than the typical person in Hollywood.
So
it's filthy. It's a cesspool, and some places are worse than others. They're like sumps in the bottom of the cesspool.
Or maybe he was doing it to test the waters for free speech and citizenship.
I don't care.
Well, can you just pretend to answer my question?
I just answered. I don't care.
But I want you to care. I want you to answer my question, whether you care or not.
I
don't want to say pretend to care because I don't care either. But
I care to learn enough about them to come up with an opinion.
Okay, so this is why I want you to care, right? This is why I want you to care.
You can want me to care all.
Yeah, I'm about to tell you why. I'm about to tell you why. I'm about to tell you why I want you to care, because he's another worldwide star. And a lot of young people, I don't know why, they like his music, but people. So when
what does he do about making?
Yeah, I'm about to tell you. Let me answer your question. Stop. When young people enjoy and are fascinated with an artist's work, and then that artist start talking about politics and other stuff outside of music, the people who hits the fans, the fanatics, they're going to believe them. So when I say that, I kind of want you to care, and you are the voice debunking that.
I don't, because I grew up where we had real live heroes who sacrificed their lives, well-being, or something else for somebody else's interest. That's none of the above. So why should I pay attention as though he were a hero? I'm not. And I find it boring.
So what would your message be to the young people that think that he's someone that they should be listening to?
Being a fool has no bearing on your age. You can be a young fool or an old one. So wise up and pay attention to the stuff that counts. They have you distracted by nonsense. In other words, anybody you pay attention to should be somebody that makes a difference in your tomorrows, either guiding you or giving you a clue or teaching you. And if they aren't and they're just distracting you, that's 2060 years ago when Julius Caesar said, give the peasants entertainment and feed them, and they won't care what their betters do. And that's exactly what's going on. You get fed and entertained, and you get fat, sloppy, and dumb.
So they say one person's like, yeah, he's a great talent. Somebody else says,
or what? Who gives a damn? Would your tomorrow be better? No, it wouldn't. He's not a hero. He's a distraction. He's an entertainer. The Romans had the right idea. Entertainers, actors and stuff, they were the dregs. The people that they went with were orators and statesmen and warriors and generals and people that came up with great innovations and stuff like that. We used to, but we don't now. I guess we don't have anybody like that.
Voodoo says he's a black multi-billionaire.
So fucking what? What does he do with the money? Is it helping you out? No. So, why waste your time?
Kataria says Dana, the judge, is in rare form tonight. He is, honey.
I just get sick of Negroes being so niggerish instead of black.
It's not just Negroes who like him.
I don't care. It's always been the con game where the well-to-do get entertainers to distract the peasants. And the peasants stay peasants because they pay more attention to the entertainments than getting their stuff together and taking charge of their circumstances. The billionaires that they're wanting to emulate, work 50, 60, 80, 90, 100 hours a week. And these folk are being distracted. I'm sure this guy, if he's a billionaire, he's working hard at what he's doing, but more power to him, but it doesn't do anything for me.
Somebody said the blind leading the blind.
Exactly.
All right. So now
the word up. This is the point. Mm-hmm. Quit getting distracted by stuff that has absolutely no impact on what happens to you tomorrow, whether it's safer for you to be on the street, whether you can afford to be on the street. That's what you need to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Not somebody causing you to get all up in your entertainment so you forget about that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right. So now let's get down to business.
And I don't even know the guy. Maybe a swell guy. Maybe a nice guy to drink beer with.
Right. But you're not speaking to him personally. You're speaking to the point, the idea that you have a lot of people in society. They are so brainwashed and what do you call it? How you pronounce that word? Enamored? How you?
Enamored. See, it's like
enamored. Yeah.
You have some very rich people in America, and they have pulpits, and I call them pulpit pimps because they're about personal income rather than saving souls. So they go off of folk who are scared of going to hell because they are living a bad life. So they pimp them and get all of their money and try to convince them that if you believe in what I tell you, which is all you got to do is believe, you'll go to the pearly gates and won't burn in hell. No, it's got something to do with what you do in life, not just what you believe. But you see, that's like the pulpit pimps, because they get up there on that pulpit and got the people that are the anathema to the gospels that they're teaching, prancing around all spastically out of time to the music. And who's going to line up for the $1,000 donation today? We got people now to 500. And you got a bunch of fools that are sitting up giving their money away because they're paying to get a little bit of recognition by somebody that's a pulpit pimp and is working him so he can get a better place to live. And the women in his life get more fur coats and jewelry, and your behind is starving like a dumb bunny, and you're still going to hell.
True.
And
All
see,
right.
that's part of the process, a distraction.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I don't know, he may be a fine guy, but you know, I'm not into that. I pay more attention to the more interesting stuff.
yeah, like this FEMA. Oh, honey, DOGE is exposing every goddamn department in our government, and I'm here for it. FEMA sent $59 million to luxury hotels for migrants. Elon, the DOGE team just discovered that FEMA sent $59 million last week to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal migrants. Sending this money violated the law and is in gross insubordination to the president's executive order. That money is meant for American disaster relief and instead is being spent on high end hotels for illegals. A clawback demand will be made today to recoup those funds.
You know what? People are talking about he doesn't have security clearance. He's getting all of your information at the Treasury Department and he's jeopardizing ordinary folk. No, he's not. Your information at the Treasury Department is by some low-level high school dropout temp who doesn't give a damn about you, and they sell your information, and if they get caught, they go to jail. Elon Musk has a top-level security clearance. This is the guy that has the trajectory information, the technology first at hand. He's the boss to launch thermonuclear warheads from 8 to 10,000 miles away, to launch a 200-man mission to the moon or Mars. He's the one that can send up the boosters that allow the military's satellite systems to be serviced or installed.
Mhm.
And he's got a top secret clearance, and you're worried about him. This whole thing with DOGE is like you've got England and they're going to build a new mall. They start digging and they stumble on an artifact and they bring in some archaeologist and they start digging and they find that the site is going to be built on 4,000 years worth of history if you dig down deep enough. That's what it is with a bureaucracy. What DOGE is doing is digging down deep to see where the current part of that bureaucracy is built on, what's below it. Okay, how much money is being spent? I remember one time talking to an admiral, acting admiral, and he was going through the base records where he was assigned, and he was getting astonished with what he was finding. And a personal thing, I remember when I was with a DC think tank, I was an intern. So I got a second job with a government agency. And when I was leaving to come back to LA, I was through with the intern thing. And I went over to resign from the federal agency. And they said, no, don't. You'll ruin everything. We'll just lose the money. So if you just give us your forwarding address, we'll send you the check. So for 3.5 years, I got my check every month for a job I hadn't shown up to in 3.5 years. I was in LA and then in Tennessee, so they were forwarding my checks. You see, why was I getting paid? I wasn't showing up for work. And then we know something. When do the social media ratings go up? It's when everybody is supposed to be at work and they're bored to death and they're in their cubicle, and instead of doing the boss's work or the agency's work, they're on social media collecting a check, doing nothing but wasting the agency's time. That's when the ratings go up. While people are at work on the East Coast, Central Time, Mountain Time, and Pacific Coast Time, when they're at work is when the listenership, the attention to social media is at its highest, and that's when they're supposed to be working. That same kind of thing exists in these bureaucracies. You've got 10,000 people working for the bureaucracy, you need 600.
Well, real quick. So I wanted to read this. It says, the money is meant FEMA. The money is meant for American disaster relief, and instead it's being spent on high-end hotels for illegals. Musk has said he's leading an agency tasked with cutting back on government overspending. City Hall officials told the Post that no one has reached out to action, reach out to action on Musk's demands. The hell?
See, you know what else is wrong? Title 8, Section 1324 et seq declares all of these hotels set up, all of these sanctuaries, aiding, abetting, conspiring, assisting to do this is a felony. So all of these people, from mayors to chiefs of police to sheriffs who are going to resist ICE to governors, they are committing a felony. And I used to represent people where the feds charged them with this 45 years ago over in federal court in trials. So I know what it is. And these people have committed felonies when they're relying upon the forbearance of the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Justice Department, to not prosecute. Now they've got a new sheriff in town, and he's deputized some people, and I think some folk are going to rightfully go to jail.
So it says here, there's a couple of people pushing back saying the hands-off approach to Musk coincided with Adams convening a meeting of his top commissioners to tell them to avoid criticizing Trump in order to avoid putting billions in federal funds for the city at risk. This is what the Post learned. Only 19 million of the 59 million that Musk highlighted in his tweet will go towards housing migrants in hotels, luxuries, or otherwise. We have already spent $7 billion on this crisis alone, and the previous administration committed only $237 million in funding to help house the migrants in our care and for future services. This is a statement by City Hall in New York City. But
They're no damn migrants. They're invaders and they're illegal. They crashed the border. They're criminals. They need to be deported and temporarily housed in Guantanamo at the moment.
Right. And
all of these people that in North Carolina that got dispossessed by the hurricanes, the ones that got burned out in California, they need to be in the hotels, not somebody that's probably a Chinese national of military age male on standby for when he gets an order to do something sabotage like, or somebody in Al Qaeda or ISIS who is ready to commit acts of terrorism. And all these folk have military grade explosives that they've been allowed to bring in, no inspection, no vetting, and transported and living in luxury hotels right down the street from where the Twin Towers was located, right down from Wall Street. Nobody gives a damn. And don't forget the thousands.
No, they were in Times Square.
Criminals who have been convicted, who've been turned loose with no supervision, no parole, no nothing, sex offenders, rapists, kidnappers, you name it, murderers, drug dealers, and they are loose in the United States of America. And now we don't know where the hell they are, and people need to be put in jail for harboring them.
Well, this is the thing because ICE is arresting a lot of the illegals. So I think whatever money that went out to these luxury hotels last week, that was probably money that was owed to them for housing the migrants under
Yes,
the Biden administration. So
put them in a damn derelict athletic
because I
stadium.
look at it like this, if they're still in these luxury hotels in Manhattan, then that should be easy for ICE to go to and round them up and deport them.
Yeah, but remember, New York officials are trying to resist this, and
No,
they
no, 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 no. Let me interject.
wait. Hold on, I didn't say the mayor. I said New York officials. Remember the Democratic elected officials who are in opposition to the current mayor because they
Yeah, but
stabbed him in the
the
back.
mayor has carte blanche over them.
Yeah, but it may or may not. But there are a lot of cops. There are a lot of elected officials around and about.
Oh no, the cops. Well,
Yeah, I didn't say the balance. I said there are a lot of them, and New York's got a humongous number of cops. There are probably some that'll be on board, but
here's the thing though. I don't think that. I was just saying it's easy for ICE to go around them up, but they're not in these hotels anymore. That's just back pay for when they did house them.
they're
But
not
so
there.
let me interject this real quick with the mayor of New York. So Trump's DOJ is going to toss out New York City Mayor Eric Adams' bribery case. Agrees with Dem that charges were politically motivated by the Biden administration. So the Justice Department ordered Manhattan prosecutors to dismiss the bribery case against Mayor Eric Adams. And as we know, prior to Donald Trump being sworn in, even before he won the election, Mayor Eric Adams was pro-Trump. And after he won and he went down to the inauguration, so he knew to get on their side, on Trump's side, because the Biden administration was throwing him under the bus because Mayor Eric Adams, during this whole migrant crisis that hit New York real bad, he will go down to DC, but like, listen, I need more help. I need more money.
I'm not going to defend him, but the point that I said weeks and weeks ago was they were throwing him under the bus because his posture on the illegal invaders was not good, and then he flip-flopped. Good for him. But the point of the exercise is it was politically motivated. So there are a lot of Democrats that want him to stay under the bus, but he's not because he flipped the script on him. And remember, he was an ex-cop. He is an ex-cop. So you have to take that into consideration. Now, the point that I'm making is that if anybody had had any decency, it would have been America first. And this money that they obligated themselves to pay these luxury hotels should have been spent on needful American citizens, homeless veterans, putting people back to work. This could have been seed money to set up small businesses and stuff to employ people. It wasn't. It was thrown away so you could get some people to live in luxury. See what you're missing in America. Everybody has a pot of gold and a chicken in the pot, language did understand.
Well, what was it he exposed last week?
Title 8, Section 1324.
Oh, the U.S. aid.
Go to jail for United States Code annotated violation, Title 8,
You're talking about
1324, harboring, aiding and abetting, concealing, inviting, transporting, etc., alien invaders, illegal.
Well, I want to swing back to DOGE, Elon Musk and DOGE, because last week DOGE exposed U.S. aid. They're trying to block him for going into looking into the treasuries.
That's what I mentioned earlier. He's got a top secret clearance, and you want to block him from going into the treasury. And 12th grade dropouts who attempts have full access to all of your information, and you're worried about a man with a top secret clearance.
So I want to play this clip here. Let me see what it is.
A US judge ruled early on Saturday to temporarily block Elon Musk's government efficiency team from accessing the Treasury Department's payment and data systems, citing a risk of sensitive information being improperly disclosed. It came after another judge on Friday put Musk's plans to dismantle the U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID, on hold. The agency's sign and flag outside its headquarters in Washington, D.C. were removed on Friday, a day before over 2,000 USAID workers were set to go on paid leave. But a U.S. district judge ordered those plans be paused and reinstated some 500 employees who had already been furloughed. The judge also temporarily barred the administration from relocating the aid agency's humanitarian workers stationed outside of the U.S. He said he'd consider a longer-term pause at a hearing scheduled for Wednesday. But in a separate case involving the Labor Department, a judge did rule in favor of Musk's efforts for now. A union group had sued to block the department from granting the billionaire and his team access to its computer systems, alleging he could obtain sensitive information, such as about investigations into his own companies and competitors, as well as the identities of workers who have filed compensation claims or sought protection for labor complaints. In a temporary ruling on Friday, the judge noted concerns about the defendants' alleged conduct, but said the union had not shown it was harmed by the Labor Department's actions. In a statement, the union called the decision a setback but not a defeat, adding that it would provide more evidence to support its claims.
All of this is going to wind up in a circuit court of appeals and then from there to the U.S. Supreme Court. So as this agency properly reported, it's a temporary restraining order. You will note the typical left-wing idiots, the mainstream media that are propaganda agencies for the far left are all reporting their plans are destroyed. No, they're not. It's a temporary restraining order until there's a hearing, which is scheduled 2 days from now. So, yeah, and these people aren't exactly back on the payroll either. They're waiting with bated breath. But you know, like I remember a federal agency I worked for, there was some woman that got drunk 4 or 5 times out of the week and would have to be escorted to the ladies' room so she could throw up. Or he always heaving in one of those old olive green metal trash cans because she'd be that drunk at work. Couldn't do anything with her. That kind of chafe is what they're getting rid of. Like what happened with me. I collected a paycheck for 3.5 years, and you know, that's been a half century ago, but I mean, why did I get a paycheck for not showing up a day for work? And the boss said, don't resign. We'll forward your check to you because if you do, it'll create more problems. See, that kind of stuff. It's like they're digging down in the ground and they're finding layer after layer under what there is now. And unlike an archaeological site, it's not dead, it's still operating, money's still getting spent. Like this stuff going to Africa to promote transvestites and to deal with psychological counseling of this kind. Why the hell are we spending money in an African country to counsel people who need mental health work because of their sexuality problems?
I don't know.
That's got nothing to do with us.
Well, oh my God. Wait a minute, 1 second. So, guys, while I fix this.
And remember, he's got a high level security clearance.
Right. Well, second.
For instance, this secret international space station where Boeing's capsule couldn't come back because it had flaws in it. You don't think that they had to give him all of the orbital specifications, the parameters, the docking information in order to modify or not modify, have one of his vehicles comply with what was necessary to dock with one of these things? Remember, the plan was to have a Boeing capsule alternate with a SpaceX capsule, which meant he had to be privy to all of the secrets that went up there with that station, which the Russians already know anyway.
Mhm.
So this is the same guy that can be trusted to build the heaviest lift rocket ever made and have a contract with the Defense Department to do 20 launches in California when California revoked his permit to do so because they don't like his politics. But this is the same guy that has this secret to make intercontinental ballistic missiles or upgrade them or to come up with the next generation thereof with all of the parameters on what you need to do to carry the thermonuclear payloads. This same guy that's the boss of this operation that is doing this, you're worried about him taking somebody making $35,000 a year and compromising that person's records.
All right. So
which he can get anyway. So, you know.
Oh, I need everybody to hit the like button. Please hit the like button and please share this video. And all right, so this is starting the second half of the show. I want to get to Democrats. The Democrats are losing their minds, right? And I want to share this. But guys, please hit the like button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up.
I'm trying to figure out what leverage we actually have. What leverage do we have? They control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. It's their government. What leverage do we have?
And that was Hakeem Jeffries basically talking about what leverage do the Democrats have.
The idiot.
Yeah, because the Republicans control the House, they control the Senate, and of course they control the White House.
An idiot in his prime.
And so, yeah,
he may not be an idiot. He just sounds like it half the time. So, you know.
And this is another Democrat. And this is a segment of Democrats losing their minds.
Like Iowa. Governor Reynolds, let's learn more about the state. Do you know what percentage of Iowans are white and what percentage are black?
I don't know the exact percentages, no. We're by far a larger percentage of white population.
That's correct. Iowa is 90% white and only 4.5% black. So that is drastically different from the national population. So when Republicans suggest Iowa should be a national model, they're advocating for a government that doesn't reflect our country. So let's talk about what this model.
Go.
I'm trying to plug in. I'm about to run out of battery.
Oh, did you hear the clip?
Yeah, I heard her. Damn fool. Guess what? So Iowa is supposed to be an anathema because it doesn't represent the way she thinks. She doesn't represent the way I think. I'm more intelligent than she is, and I'm not a fool like she is. She's a house Negro on a plantation, so I'm supposed to be impressed that black folk are supposed to think like that. Mammy.
Well, here's another mammy.
Because they think that they can take over this country. And Trump has said, you give me enough money, you can have it. And that's what he has done. He has turned over our country to Elon Musk. We didn't elect him. We didn't select him. We didn't ask for him. And we don't want him. And so, if he thinks we're pushovers, he got another thought coming. We are prepared to fight.
Do what? Do what?
He is collecting all of the data. He has violated our privacy. He has violated our privacy, and he keeps going.
$35,000 a year, worried about their privacy getting violated, and all of these little GS4s that are temporaries that have full access to all of their data, and they're worried about this man being worried about their little 35,000 don't have to pay taxes on it. And this fool, this mammy.
What happened?
Am I still on?
Yeah, you're still there. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Why do people do that? Like, I do think it's so intentional. Go out and come back in.
You guys work to get something, I believe in your Constitution, that says that the black South Africans and people who we fought for to get rid of apartheid now can have 30% in all of the foreign businesses that come in. Elon Musk said, I'm going to build a battery factory. I want you to get rid of that 30%.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me? You hear me?
Yes.
Do you know
hear
what?
you.
This stupid mammy pulled off one of the dumbest remarks I've ever heard. Valerie, Denise, and I were involved, and it was a thing where she was getting chastised by these homeless people in our district. She got up and told them, "You're an embarrassment. Just be quiet and go home and get off of the streets." And somebody said, "Fool, that's our problem. We've got no home to go to. What the devil is wrong with you?" See, that's how stupid she is. She's been that way for her whole career. She's been a mammy. And, you know, somebody, so she got all these hypodermic needles all over her district. It's filthy. A lot of homeless vets get mistreated. She doesn't deliver anything except for the rainbow cult. So that's not doing anything for her constituents. And she's talking about, we're going to fight. What do you mean by fight, lady? You got upset a couple of years ago when you got to talking about Trump was threatening an insurrection because he said fight. What did you just do? Or is this more you're trying to incite violence and public disturbance like it was when you said if you see a Trump-Pence bumper sticker, scratch the car, key it, or break out the windows, or if you see one in a business, break the windows. That's specific advocacy, and that's criminal. Now, what is this we have here?
So, and let me sidebar, guys. I do have in the chat a goal. And if I reach the goal, we're extending the live stream an extra hour. So if you have a question or if you have a statement or wanted to say hello, please send it via super chat and I will definitely read it. So getting back to the Democrats have lost their mind, CNN, I forgot the name of this show, but they always have this panels.
Trump's unqualified cabinet is reason DEI exists. Oh, goddamn. What a foolish thing to allege.
So I want to play this clip. Let me play the clip and then we'll talk about it.
I do not have the same opportunity as you. I know I don't.
And you know
and
that
I know
too.
what's going on.
And you know that.
Let me just tell you about me.
I'm gonna let you finish, but I want to answer this.
I'm not talking about how you feel. I'm talking about how I feel. Me, a black woman in this country.
But not in this city.
And I will run. And if you want,
I'm a New Yorker, not in this city. You cannot say that. You can't say that in this city. I'm
not talking about New York. I'm talking about actually
let her finish.
Okay, right here. I got a law degree, a master's, and 2 bachelors. Probably more education than all y'all added up together on this people, right? And I have always been the least paid person on payroll at every institution I have worked in. And it's not because...
Even in the White House?
Even in the White House.
Well, whose fault is that? I don't think you worked for George W. or Trump.
Well, guess what happened when I was there? DEI.
Scott.
Look.
Yeah, you see how ignorant you sound. So, okay, fine.
So she basically saying DEI helped her to get equal pay.
Yeah, well, I see why she needed DEI. She sounds like a fool. So anyway, you get an illustration of the purposes of DEI. In our premises, Trump's thing is why we have DEI. DEI seems to have predated Trump's thing. So Trump's thing is a reaction to DEI. And I always thought it was foolish. In other
Well,
words,
no one ever heard of DEI until maybe the last 2 years of the Biden administration. That's when they ushered it in. They didn't usher it in 2020 or 2021. It was in 2022. And that was to give corporations millions of dollars to implement DEI training courses, which their firing practices did not change. And I'm sorry, if you got all these degrees and you mean to tell me throughout your career, you knew for sure that you were getting paid less than your counterpart in the same position and you did nothing? So she's the dumb one.
Okay, so the two quarterbacks, the one playing for Kansas City and the one playing for Philly, they got hired as quarterbacks for DEI, or did they get hired on merit?
Right.
Yeah, okay. How about we put some women on the defensive line to go up against the Chiefs' offensive line, which is the heaviest in the history of the NFL? How about we put some women for DEI across and set up some rules so that they don't get hit as hard as men would get hit?
I feel like this. Listen, in 2025, even in 2024, even going back to 2020, or even in the 1990s, if you know, especially in corporate, you're in a position, not someone in a different position that's a higher position because they're going to get paid more. No, the same position, you as a Black woman or a Black person, and you know that you are getting paid less. Where are the complaints? Where are the lawsuits? Where is the demand? Stop hiding under this DEI BS, because that was just for the federal government to look good and to make it more diverse in the workforce, particularly for white women. Has nothing to do with Black or really any other race. So stop hiding under these, under these acronyms, and start issuing some goddamn lawsuits and complaints.
They're expensive. You've been voting folk into office who have made the whole court system entirely too expensive, too lacking in common sense, and too filled with red tape to do what it's supposed to do. So,
all right, last clip on the Democrats lost their mind. This is back to Maxine. It was either over the weekend or Friday. She's standing outside, I think this is the education department, one of these departments, and the Trump administration said, don't let nobody in, no Democrats in.
Look them in the eye. Come on, hold your face up. Look at him. Let them see you. This is him. Look at it. What's your name? Tell us your name. Give me that ID again.
Giving you the ID, I showed it to you.
So what?
I showed you the ID.
You do what?
I showed you the ID.
Could you let me see the ID again? Huh?
No.
No? Will someone else ask him for the ID? Will you ask him for it? He won't let me see it again. You didn't see it. You didn't see it. They didn't see it.
This is like a whole bunch of senior citizens out here.
Their minds. These were some ignorant women 40 years ago, and they're still ignorant.
Yeah, I told you the Democrats have lost their minds. They lost their minds.
You know the man is official, so what are you trying to do? Hopefully somebody will come up and find out who he is so they can go kill him or something?
So Elon has, well, let me just say DOGE, because he's not, it's other people working in DOGE, but DOGE has got the Democrats running scared.
Of course, it ought to be. All of the corruption, the venality, and all of the stuff that is involved in this whole thing, yeah, they ought to, because there's a whole lot of wastage. And it's not that people need to be out of work. It's just that if they're going to work, they need to be productive. I'm still thinking about how the ratings for social media go up so significantly when people are at work. how the hell are they supposed to have time to pay attention to social media when they're supposed to be on the job? But social media is not heavy when they're at home getting ready to go to bed. It's heaviest when they're supposed to be at work.
Right.
So what are they doing at work? They're listening in on their favorite social media program when they're supposed to be about the boss's business.
Well, Elon says, just learned that the Social Security database is not deduplicated, meaning you can have the same Social Security number many times over, which enables massive fraud. Your tax dollars are being stolen.
Yeah, so we're finding out who's stealing your money, and it's supposed to be wrong to find out who's committing theft. Whoa, that sounds like you have a mental health issue. Well, that's like saying you think you are a girl and you still got balls in a swinger. Yeah, okay. Or your pronouns, special pronouns, and 26 separate gender identities. That sounds like the same kind of crazy.
Well, we spoke briefly last week and it ended up evolving into a argument between me and you, but we spoke briefly about South Africa. South Africa is trending, particularly Julian Malema and Elon Musk. So Elon Musk, he was tagging Julius Malema. He was tagging him over the weekend saying immediate sanctions for Malema and declaration of him as an international criminal. So Elon Musk is shouting for, I guess, Trump or other government heads to declare Julius Malema as a international criminal. What was the other tweet here? He also put, he is chanting, kill the white farmers to a cheering stadium, which is technically
Sounds
not.
like Maxine Waters.
Huh?
Sounds like Maxine Waters.
But that really wasn't the case. See, Elon, he was doing a lot of how you say trolling. He exaggerating because I guess he's upset with this new South African bill. Now, I think I'm gonna save the South African conversation for another day because I do want to talk more on it. Trump did issue, I believe, tariffs on South Africa, tariffs on South Africa, and he stopped what little aid that we were giving them, which was going to, I guess, their AIDS and HIV. But South Africa was like, dude, that's not going to affect us, so it's whatever. But you know what? I want to
put some of that humongous income they get from the diamond and gold mines to work for their own behalf. Why do we have to pay for it?
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, I'm definitely not siding with Elon Musk on the South African situation. I'm actually on the South African side here. And he was born and raised in South Africa, Elon Musk, but he was what do you call it? The white people, the Afrikaners. So he was privileged. He was at the top of their caste system there.
They let him be. 9 out of every 10 soldiers in the old South African army, when they were enforcing apartheid, were black. So why does 90% of your armed forces enforce segregation against its own people? 90+% of the South African military, when they had apartheid, was African, black African. So why are they imposing apartheid and enforcing it on themselves? That's dumb.
No, I mean, that's a great point, and I agree with you there, right? So with those same sentiments, a white person, particularly like Elon Musk, a white Afrikaner or white people, period, don't sit up here and play the victim. Oh, I'm a minority. Well, You were the minority in numbers, but you were the majority when it came to power. And you're right. They were the majority in numbers, but they allowed themselves to be colonized to a certain degree, and we could have that discussion later. But apartheid was real. So this is how Black South Africans were treated by white South Africans during apartheid. Claims about Black people killing and displacing white people in South Africa are completely false. The call for Trump to impose sanctions, so yeah, it was sanctions. The call for, I didn't want to play this video. The call for Trump to impose sanctions and cut aid as a form of revenge is misguided and disgraceful. Do not be deceived. There is no genocide taking place in South Africa.
South Africa has nukes. It's got huge mineral deposits. It's got huge swaths of arable land. It's got a lot of wildlife. It's got nukes. What the hell are we over there giving them 2 cents for?
I think that was under that U.S. aid mess.
I know. So what is the sense of us financing a country that has some of the largest mineral deposits, vital mineral deposits in the world, with nukes, run by Black folk? What are we over there for?
Mm-hmm. So again, Simon Atiba, he was a journalist, and he had his White House press credentials to be in a press room, but under the Biden administration, they revoked his press privileges, right? Because he used to get on Corinne Pierre and said, listen, I'm really the only African here to ask questions about international news, particularly in the continent of Africa, but you never call on me. And then they took away his press privilege, but Donald Trump gave it back to him, and I'm glad he did. But on these, and he is from
speech.
Yes, exactly. Free speech. So, and he is exercising his free speech here. Again, talking about what's going on in South Africa. He said the little racists can't hide it anymore. Now they're pushing hate against South Africa, spreading a false claim that there's a genocide against white people there. This is pure nonsense, and here's why. South Africa is recovering from the horrors of apartheid when Black people were treated like second-class citizens by the Afrikaners. Under apartheid, Black people couldn't own land, couldn't go to school, and were denied basic rights simply because of their skin color. When Nelson Mandela became president in 1994, he didn't take revenge on those who had oppressed his people. Instead, he chose peace. He knew that the country needed healing, not more division. Mandela promoted forgiveness and reconciliation, uniting a country that had been torn apart. Today, South Africa is working on land reforms to give everyone, Black, white, and brown, equal access to land and opportunities. Is the country perfect? No. Crime is still high and wealth is still concentrated in the hands of a few. But are white South Africa
factoid? 4 of the top 10 most dangerous cities in the whole world are located in South Africa. 4 out of the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Memphis is one of the top 10. So if you include that, there are only 5 other cities besides Memphis and the 4 South African cities in the whole world that are in the top 10 as most dangerous places to live. So just think about that. 4 of the top 10 are in South Africa. What does that say?
So it says, crime is still high and wealth is still concentrated in the hands of a few. But are white South Africans being specifically targeted or killed because of their skin color? No. Spreading racism disguised as patriotism or love for white people is dangerous. It fuels division and distracts from the real progress South Africa is making. It's a lie and it's harmful. So what's the U.S. national interest here? Should we go to war with South Africa, a country that has solid relationships with the rest of Africa? Should we impose sanctions and cut off the little aid we send there? Or should we work to help South Africa fix its imperfections and continue building a country where all people, regardless of race, can live together and thrive? Let's stop the hate. South Africa has come a long way, and they're still working hard to move forward. We should support that, not tear it down with lies and division. Peace and honesty are the only way forward.
My personal opinion is their business. Let them handle it. They need to work it out. Eventually, they'll have to anyway. That would have been like, say, France, Germany, or Russia coming in to decide to tell the United States what to do about its racist past. You see where that goes when you think about it? It just doesn't happen. It ain't our business.
True. However, Elon, he's trying to make it his business.
Well, he's from there. I understand how it is business, but I don't agree with it.
First of all, you're from there, but you're not there. You're a citizen here, and you're actually working within the United States government, and you own the most popular social media platform in the world right now. And you get up there and you're making false accusations about something that's going on in South Africa you have no clue about because you're not there. He
might be well connected. Maybe he's got close family members that are.
He's full of shit on that.
Well, he may not be full of shit. I can see his point. I just don't agree with it. I think they need to be left to work it out on their own.
Yeah, but don't sit up here and make false claims. Oh, they want to kill.
I don't know that his claims are false because I don't have any immediate way of verifying anybody.
Somebody who is a reporter from South Africa and is South African and has more insight what's going on said that's not true.
Well, I know what. I'm going to call somebody I know that's got the inside dope on it. He's going to be the next high king of the Zulu. So I'll use my connections to get back in touch with him. We've had quite a few meetings, not recently, but we had quite a few back when. I may
right, but you're right. But I agree with you. We do need to stay out of it. We need to stay out of it. It's not our business. So why is Trump? Well, I'm going to give them sanctions because of this, law they pass on the white farmers. And then he also said, I will allow any white farmers or white Afrikaners to come to America as a refugee to seek asylum. And they said, we don't want to come.
Do you ever notice that the Negroes, when they get in charge, don't have the sense to do that?
Well, technically, they do have the sense to do that because and this is a problem I do have with the Congressional Black Caucus. Not only do they focus on LGBT, but they focus on immigration, whether it's Black people from Africa or the Caribbean, or whether it's Ukrainians or South America. They never focus on Black Americans.
They don't do anything for them unless they're promoting LGBTQIA plus the rainbow cult. Now, what do they do for Africa? They like to go over there.
No. They help them come here. That's what I mean.
But because what they're trying to do is acquire 40, 80, 120 acres over there where they think they'll have a good time with the open sewers, tsetse flies, and all kinds of other pestilence. And they want to go back there and live like kings and queens and do nothing for the people. See, I get it. I used to go to these meetings sometimes and they'd be bragging about their connections and how they were getting this, that, and the other land and these concessions, but that isn't helping the Africans.
I think Elon he need to focus on DOGE. You haven't.
It is, but I don't have any problem. I mean, I don't support his position in this. I'm not anti, but I'm not pro. It's just, I think it's none of our damn business, but at least he's taking care of his people. Look at what the Jews do with Israel. America.
People, he's just on social media claiming that white people are being killed.
Well, it may be. Look what Israel is talking about Hamas is doing over there. Same thing.
All right.
But
again,
nobody. We don't have sense to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
See, the difference is that Israel's got nukes and they've got a pretty good air force, mostly composed of American combat pilots on furlough to them. They've got an interesting army, universal military service for everybody. But around here, oh my God, they got the draft. Oh, we don't do that. Nobody wants to fight. Everybody wants to trans out, and be something else. So,
well, I'm going to what happened? Oh my God. Well, speaking of South Africa, I'm gonna stay on top of, that story for further discussion next time. So you can't hear me? Can you hear me? You can't hear me?
hello.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No? Well, honey, you looking forward to Jesus coming. Child, you're not gonna be here on this earth when Jesus comes. You gonna see Jesus when you transition. Can you hear me? Judge. Go out and come back in. Can you hear me? Like, what's going on? Come on. Hello. What is this man doing? What are you doing?
Trying to get back on.
Go all the way out.
I am all the way.
No, you're not. You're still
I'm on my messages trying to reconnect now.
No, you're still in the show. He doesn't realize he's still on. Now he just went off. There we go. Yes. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
All right. I want to swing into Memphis corruption. And honestly, Josh, I honestly try. I'll always try and work around your schedule. I want to start doing these Monday shows in the afternoon. The nights are not, I have a feeling that in the afternoon it will hit way more people. I think the afternoons would be way more better.
When they're at work,
Huh?
supposed see
No,
what I'm
no,
talking
that's
about.
not it. No.
That is, it's true.
No, it's not it. I'm telling you, there are a lot of people who do morning shows at 9:00, 12:00, and they get a whole lot of people watching. So wherever people are at, they're going to watch. People watch when they're at work. So that's not a good excuse. We're gonna have to
I know, but the
Monday during
point
the day.
is that's what people count on. I was just making a point. I mean,
I know, but I want to try an afternoon on a Monday. Let's just try it.
well, today would have been a bad day, but
I'm not talking about today because it would have been last minute. So let's push for next week, Monday.
oh, let's see, what do I have for next Monday? I can do this without getting knocked off.
No, you cannot. How about just look at your schedule?
No,
Because
I
we'll
won't
talk
get
about it
knocked
when the show is over. We're still
Hold
doing the
on,
show.
I can do it right now. Keep talking. I can still
No,
hear
oh
you.
my God. I wanted to talk about Memphis corruption. Like, what are you
I
doing?
am going to. Hold on. Let's
That's why
see.
you don't need
Monday,
to look at your schedule right now.
17th. Monday the 17th. That's a holiday.
What holiday? Presidents?
Yeah. Abe and George. Abe and Georgie.
You don't have none scheduled for next week, Monday in the afternoon. So pencil it in either 1, 2, or 3 o'clock. Not 1 o'clock, because that's 12 your time. That's still early. So 2 o'clock your time, 3 my time. Let's just try it. 2 o'clock next week. You're frozen. Oh, I thought you was frozen. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Oh. Can you put in, since you want to look at your schedule, put in your schedule on the 17th.
I looked at my schedule.
2 p.m. show.
I don't even have a social life these days.
I don't want to hear. Yes, you do. Because I called you Friday night and you was out.
Yeah, I was out at a club night.
I know.
I still go out every now and then when I get a free moment.
You know, when you go out at 8 o'clock on a Monday. So that's what I'm saying. Let's just push it in the afternoon so you can have your Mondays free, because that's when your little girlfriend want to call to take you out to dinner.
I have other places I go besides with my good pretty niece, who is magnet. She brings in action. Folk want to come over and see who she is.
Turn your camera a little bit.
Well, I would ordinarily, but I don't now.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, can we get into the Memphis corruption?
Memphis is horribly corrupt. This county commission just called for an audit of the Board of Education and its expenditures, which is necessary, but the county commission needs to be audited too, and the county mayor needs to be audited, and the city needs to be audited. And the question beggars itself as to who's going to get paid a whole lot of money from which there will be kickbacks to do the audit, because of course nobody is supposed to exist in Memphis, Tennessee that would be able to conduct an audit. So they want to get somebody from outside of Memphis who will take a lucrative commission to do the audit with appropriate kickbacks to the powers that be. That's Memphis. Actually, they need a new U.S. attorney here, one of the toughest Trump can manage to appoint, so he can put a lot of folk in jail. It's been 25 years since a bunch of them went to jail, and some more need to go to jail now. A shame.
I hate when you do that. I hate when you must be getting tired.
Not tired, it's just tedious.
It's not tedious because we spoke on the phone and you said this is one of the things that you
I'm going to. I haven't started yet. It's just where to start. Memphis is.
Okay, so let's start here because you retweeted.
Yeah, I'll start with this. Memphis.
No, can I read this? It says the forensic audit is coming. Shelby County commissioners just unanimously passed a resolution to audit Memphis Shelby County schools, the most corrupt public schools in America.
And I just said the county commission needs to be audited. The city council needs to be audited. The city mayor needs to be audited. The county mayor needs to be audited because they're all stealing. So now they've got a scapegoat to detract attention from the rest of them, they think. And the problem is this is a very democratic city in an intensely Republican state, and the Republicans need to take advantage of the situation and send somebody down here from the state, take stuff over like they're supposed to be doing with the Board of Education that is so out of hand that the state is talking about they'll have to run it to straighten it out. The main problem with this Board of Education is under the guise of it costs too much for Memphis to maintain its own Board of Education. It surrendered its education charter to the county to save money, but that's an opportunity to steal. And the main way they're stealing is that contracts of $100,000 or less do not have to be formally okayed by the board. So all kinds of things can go on behind the scenes. $100,000 doesn't seem like much unless you've got 130 of them separate but put together, and that's $13 million, which is how this started. Some dumb bunny came up and said to the previous superintendent, how dare you not approve the continuation of what I've gotten paid $13 million for to do tutoring programs that nobody's seen. And then, let's see, J.B. Smiley, who's president of the city council, he put a threat in writing and sent it as a text to the superintendent of schools saying she'd be fired if she didn't go along with this, because these are important people and they're upset and they back him. So he put it in writing. That's a crime. It's also civilly actionable. So he's now saying she's a liar in spite of the fact that she filed his text transmissions as part of her lawsuit, which it looks like she's going to win. So we have somebody that got 130 plus of these $100,000 contracts for total we know about so far of $13 million, off of which nothing's been delivered. So there's a whole lot of that going on. Memphis is so corrupt. They're trying to run Elon Musk out of here, who's trying to set up a new adventure of his artificial intelligence to build these supercomputers on an 85,000 square foot facility here, bring billions of dollars into the economy. And these clowns are upset that they're not getting bribed and they don't like his politics. So they want to run him out of Memphis. Real brilliant move. And they're trying to bring in this South Korean company, Blue Oval, and let it rename Mason, Tennessee. That's mostly black, but it's got 5,200 people. So they want the South Korean company known as Blue Oval. It's already hired 15,000 South Koreans to bring into Memphis to start work in less than 3 years and bring in 15,000 more. And when you put the families in, that's 120,000 people, and you'll need 150,000 others working at Mickey D's, Malco's, Walgreens, Walmart, and all of the rest, and the beauty salons, the barber shops, and doctors' offices and dentists' offices, and they want to turn it over to a South Korean company and harbor some fugitives over here. So real wowee whoopee. The dumbest bunch of crazy Negroes I've ever seen. And the court clerk got herself arrested because she barged in across the police yellow line after two guys jumped a cop or two who were responding to a violence call. Sent one of them, I think, to the hospital, and she was talking about, I'm court clerk. And they say, yeah, but you're not law enforcement and you don't have any oversight over our budget, so get back behind the line. She refused, got to calling them pigs or something like that. And
let me interject this real quick.
Is not possessed of high integrity.
The school system is not good, and specifically with children learning, they are below reading, they're below in math. Why is that? Is it because
it's anti-masculine? The Hispanic boys are at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to learning. The black boys are next above them at the bottom of the barrel. The white boys are just above them. And when you get to the girls, they are stair-step because too many of the teachers are female. They're anti-masculine. I've seen it. And interestingly enough, young black girls are doing better than any other category in the public schools here because they're most akin with the school teachers. It's not a matter of white racism or supremacy. The overwhelming majority of the teachers are black. Problem is they started them 4 years ago, 5 years ago at $28,000 a year. You just need a 2-year degree. And I think those who had a 4-year degree started at $32,000 a year. So what kind of teacher are you going to get for that amount of money? That's poverty wages. Other things, they turned it over to a private entity known as Teach America that runs the teaching courses. They do the hiring, they do the assignment stuff, and the board has gotten out of that business, and like they throw money away. There's one silk stocking law firm that they hire to do consultant stuff with, they get paid $500 to $3,500 an hour, and they send their rookies there who are not long out of law school. Meanwhile, the board has a full-time attorney's office, board attorney, and an attorney staff. They sit in there, they get a salary, and then you get these rookies 3 to 5 years out of law school getting paid $500 an hour to $3,500 an hour, getting paid more than the people that have been doing this 15 years who work for the county, who are also lawyers. It's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen in your life. It's called Teach America. And the person who runs the operation here has absolutely no educational background, and he's in his mid-30s.
I didn't realize how black Memphis was. And when I say black, I ain't talking about just with the residents. When you look at City Hall, when you look at education, when you look at police department, the courts, the judges, is controlled and run by 80% or more black.
Yeah, just like Atlanta. And
so where's the white supremacy? So is the white supremacy at the state?
No, the white supremacy.
And I mean, what I'm talking about, I mean, at the state house, you know.
No, it's the propaganda that the Democratic Party is putting out. Most of them are a bunch of ugly looking lesbians, and that's their business, but they don't like men, so they're anti-man. They support the BLM hoax, and they are singularly ignorant and incompetent. And they've got a good game, and the local mainstream media tries to help them out. So they don't do anything except cause chaos. And like I said, one of the worst offenders, her name's Tammy Sawyer. She got busted for crossing the police yellow line. She's the court clerk. She was county commissioner, and she and another scam commissioner, the same group that's calling for the audit, his name is Van Turner. They set up a private corporation called Green Space to run city parks. So they had 2 parks that had Johnny Reb statues in them. So Tammy Sawyer and Van Turner got a resolution passed to sell the parks to him with no bid. Now, these are beautiful parks. One of them is located right in the middle of this huge hospital complex, and he bought it for $1,000, no bid. The other one, that was Nathan Bedford's statue down there. And there's another one down by what they call the Metal Museum, right on a beautiful area of the bluff with the Mississippi flowing by. They bought the park for $1,000, no bid. Somebody's brother got paid a lot of money to take the statues down, and paid a lot of money every month for 3 years to store the statues. Allegedly, there was a scam wherein they defaulted on the less than $100 a month rent, allegedly, to somebody that ran a storage facility. So he would slap a lien on the statues. They got the lien released to them by paying the 3 months pack rent, and the statues got sold for a very high price. So where did the money go, and what are they going to do with it? And there's a scam to take the Liberty Bowl and convert it from a football field to a soccer arena to the tune of $700 million, $500 million to right across the way from it, convert this old defunct auditorium for $500 million, $500 million, to an opera house. And the whole area is being upgraded to upscale, gentrified residential area devoted to apartments, apparently to bring in the Koreans when they start working at Blue Oval. So they're trying to get a piece of this action. So this is the person that runs the clerk's office that has the highest flow of cash through it in West Tennessee, if not the whole state. Just not fit for these people to be trusted. They have their hands dipped into so much. There's alleged collusion between the county mayor and the state comptroller that is misappropriated between 28 and 30 some million dollars so far. There's 200 million being dispersed to build 28 luxury units, and the city mayor allegedly has 3.7% of a couple of hundred million for developing a downtown hotel chain at taxpayers' expense. So these are the kind of things that go on in Memphis. And it's the same kind of clown show we've been looking at in Atlanta, in Fulton County, where a big mouth idiot, Fannie, got up there and had to testify, and the judges say, what are you doing? You don't need to. And she exposed everybody. And they had to go after getting rid of the superintendent because some favorite person had ripped off $13 million allegedly. And the superintendent just didn't approve of this person being refunded. And he got all in her face and apparently threatened her, according to her allegations in her lawsuit. And then the president of the city council, J.B. Smiley, he got up and threatened her. And then they violated the state's open meeting rules by having, literally, they bragged about 5 of the ones were women. They literally had a meeting in the ladies' room, and the state law specifically forbids that. It says any discussion has to be in an open session, and they admitted they did that. They put it in emails and threatened a woman with that. So, good gracious, what else you want to do? Write up a confession and pin it to your chest? Hey, look what I did.
So again, let me ask you, all this what you just said, with all these different people, these different players that's in this whole web of corruption, they're all Black.
Yeah.
So
Well, one of them, the last mayor, Strickland's white, but he pulled off
one person.
But he pulled off an interesting stunt when he got elected the first time. He had some of the Negroes pay good money to pass out sample ballots endorsing him. Guess what they did? He took his Black opponent's picture and put it over his name, and took his name and his picture and put it over his Black opponent's name.
Is that legal? That's not legal. But Black people, and it's not a Black thing. I think a lot of people will fall for that, but is that a legal thing to do?
Yeah, it's not legal. It's election fraud.
Did he get in trouble for that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he did.
But the last DA was on his side, so he didn't.
Was the DA Black?
She was held.
Wait, was she Black? Was the DA Black?
No, she was white. Her name is Amy Wyrick, and she was held by multiple sources, including, to some extent, the Tennessee Supreme Court as the most corrupt elected DA in the United States. Let's see, Harvard's Law Review declared that. I think Stanford's did out in California. The Association of Elected District Attorneys in Tennessee declared her that way. And I know as a fact, she's got more appellate decisions naming her or declaring that she engaged in prosecutorial misconduct. She has more of those accusations against her personally by an appellate court than any other DA's office in the country has against them collectively over the same time period.
Right. All right. Well,
and then the new DA, he has practically no experience in criminal law. And the DA before the last one, I was on the bench when he got sworn in 2.5 hours late because he'd never been to the Criminal Justice Center and didn't know where it was. He had to stop at a phone booth and call to have some deputies come pick him up so they could take him to where the Criminal Justice Center was so he could get sworn in as the DA.
All right. So let's put a pin in that because we're going we're going to talk more about corruption that's going on in Memphis, corruption that's going on in Atlanta, and then I want to start teetering to corruption going on in Ohio,
DC and New York and Los Angeles.
Right. I want to start catering the content now around corruption, and maybe when we go live on Monday, it'll be less about trending stuff, because you know why I bring up the trending stuff, for the clips, for the uploads. So, and you know what? Maybe I need to just curate the content just around corruption. So with that, it's Black History Month, and I want to ask you,
nobody's mentioned it hardly.
What is Black history?
Well, you're supposed to study history to learn its lessons so you don't repeat them. And you also study its lessons so you can learn what to do to make your future a better future. But we study it just so you can memorize some fool bug dancing or singing, and what's the point? Do you study we studied Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, but we didn't even own any property rights there. We rented from the Native Americans. It was one of 123 locations over a 3-year period that suffered this kind of upset. But interestingly enough, nobody mentions Washington, D.C., that had by far and away the biggest disturbance. 500 plus people died over the course of a business week. But the interesting thing is more white folk died than Black folk. They had a bunch of Black veterans there who had just gotten back from France. They'd been in World War I in the trenches. And when the bigots decided they were going to burn down Black tenements, well, the Black Pullman car porters smuggled guns in from Baltimore, and the soldiers were on the roofs of the buildings and sniping at the night riders and the arsonists who were trying to burn the place down, and they killed a whole bunch of them. They had to bring in the U.S. cavalry to restore order. Now, that was an uprising, and that was in Washington, D.C. That wasn't 180 people who came in and committed misdemeanor trespass and misdemeanor vandalism.
And I am going to get you guys super chats.
Plus.
So no, I was saying I'm going to get to the guys super chat. So I wanted to highlight.
But my point is, why is it you hear nothing about that historical situation where Black folks stood up for themselves, and what kind of lesson came out of that? We get this one where, we're the victims again, Tulsa. Well, what about the other 122 places? Some places we were victims and some we weren't. Like Washington, D.C., where we definitely weren't the victim when the dust, settled. So why don't we hear about Washington, D.C.? Why has it always got to be suffering Negroes who never fought back or did it ineffectively?
Right.
But Maxine Waters says, we're going to fight. Like, really? What are you going to do, old lady?
So I wanted to highlight this Black rodeo. And I think that's a real significant part of history.
Wait a minute. Scroll that up.
Let me just read it. Give me a second.
I want to look at it, but
I know. Let me stop. I am going to bring it back up. So I know it's part of our Black history is the Black Cowboys, and this video clip is the Black Rodeo Awards and Gala in Oklahoma. And I wanted to play this clip to highlight it.
Hey, where else can you get cleaned up, get that red carpet treatment, and honor the legends of Black Rodeo all in one night? The Black Cowboy Rodeo Awards and Gala is where it all went down. Now let's check it out. When I say they did it big, I mean they did it real big, baby. Beautiful brothers and sisters from all over came together in OKC to celebrate the history, culture, and the impact of Black cowboys and cowgirls. This just wasn't about looking good, it was about the legends. They had everybody in the building, from the OGs who paved the way to the current stars of the rodeo game. And listen, They even fed us. I said, oh yeah, this all right. Now the night was hosted by the legendary voices of rodeo, Mr. Marcus Friday and Mr. Chris Carter, who had me on the floor laughing all night. And regarding the awards, they had nominees come from all over the country. The Rodeo of the Year award went to the Roy LeBlanc Rodeo, which last year they pulled in 12,000 people. Gotta salute the YFC boys out of Spencer for taking home the title of the hottest Pony Express team. And my guy Humpty got the Calf Roper of the Year award. The night ended with a powerful tribute to the legends who paved the way for today's black cowboys and cowgirls, and seeing them get their flowers was something special. So congrats to the rest of the winners and honorees, and if you want to be a part of this history and sponsor next year's event, hit up the bcras.com. And y'all don't forget to like and share this video, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.
You wanted to see the women.
Well, a particular one, since somebody that I dated is there, I won't identify whom.
Well,
reason I'm not, she's getting married shortly, so
anyway, listen, I want to highlight that because I think that's great. I think we don't talk about black cowboys. We don't talk about the rodeos, and when we talk about cowboys and rodeos, we don't picture a black face. And there are a lot of black cowboys. There is a such thing as a rodeo where black people.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you go to Fort Worth, Dallas, Fort Worth, and you go over there to Fort Worth where they have the rodeo arena. They've got a black cowboy who's famous. He invented the process of dogging steer. When you wrestle them to the ground, he'd bite them on the nose, called bulldogging. What is his name? They've got a statue of him out in front of the arena, a black cowboy. And black folk didn't put that statue up there. Bill Daggett or something like that, I think.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I should have worn my cowboy hat, but the dress, you see the woman over here, she has the black dress. I love the fact that she got these black and white cowboy boots on. Oh my God. I love this whole outfit get up here. And I think she has on cowboy boots too. I love the way the women are dressing. I love the way they look. They look good. I love the hats, love the boots, everything. Classy, sexy, beautiful. Love it.
Friend sure can ride a horse, and she likes to do the same thing. She likes to rope the steers as they dash out of the chute on her cutting horse. She's got a ranch down there in the Atlanta area, and she just bought another one in another part of the country.
So honestly, I'm probably gonna.
I had a ranch.
Remember, one second. If I remember, I want to go to this gala that they have every year. And FYI, honey, Cowboy Carter tickets go on sale on the 13th, and I will be grabbing my tickets. I want to definitely go to the one in London, and I do want to go to the one in Paris and New York. She's calling it the rodeo chickling circuit because she's not going to be able to a whole bunch of states. Yes.
What's that got to do with real cowboy stuff?
That is her father's side and mother's side. Yes, they were cowboys, rodeo, all that. That is part of her lineage. Now, just because she's always did pop and R&B, and I get it, but the reason why she did that country album,
good-looking woman, I'll give her that.
The reason why she did that country album is to, number one, highlight her background and the history of black people in being cowboys, rodeo, all that. People gotta, what do you call it? When you see stuff like that, it's part of educating.
I like the whole.
Well, no, let me just say this: not for you; it's for everybody. People need to understand when you see that type of representation, because when we look at these westerns on TV, it's all white, or it's the white people, the white cowboys chasing the Indians and stuff like that. People need to start researching and reading and understanding the part that black men and women played in the Southwest and the West, Midwest, when it comes to rodeo, cowboying, and all that.
Oh, I understand it. I had 16 horses at one time on my ranch out in
So
Ohio.
swing it back to Beyonce, because honey, yes, I'm part of the Beehive, man.
Yeah,
I would
well,
not
let's
have
go
you
back
or nobody come for
with
her. That is her
Uncle
background.
Booker.
She was
Yeah,
born in, wait,
okay,
one
okay,
second, Judge.
fine. I
She
don't
was
know.
born and raised in Houston, Texas.
I'm
Her
here.
father's from Alabama, mama from
Yeah,
Louisiana.
good. My Uncle Booker was in the 10th
And
Cavalry.
they all got that cowboy in their
My Uncle Booker was
history.
the 10th Cavalry Buffalo Soldiers on the frontier from 1881 up to 1906. He quit the Army as a sergeant major, re-upped, and was in World War I. So I know about the cowboy thing, and got nothing against it. I think it's cool.
All right, so let me get to
Black
the
cowboys. We have a big riding thing with black cowboys here in Memphis.
Thank you guys for supporting the show. I want to get to the super chats. Patricia Brown. Good night, Dana. Judge Brown, have you heard about Governor of Pennsylvania connected to Trump assassination attempt July 20?
Turned out to be bogus. Another mentally ill somebody allegedly who made accusations that had been disproven. I thought it was interesting, but
it wasn't true.
Wasn't true. That's so far.
Hold on for a second. 1 second. I'm gonna cut 1 second. Catalia, because I gotta charge my mouse real quick. Can you time out Super Tucker or somebody? What's his name? Super Tucker. Time his ass out, because if y'all really think that I'm going to allow anybody trash talking Beyonce, I don't care if you did not like her album or not.
I think she's a good looking woman. I don't know what her latest music is, but
let me time him out.
I didn't mind listening to it.
Put you on a 30-minute timeout, honey. Don't you talk about her album was horrible.
Hey, free speech.
No, we don't have that here. This is a dictatorship when it comes to Beyonce. Judge Joe Brown need to stop talking about my DoorDash guy like that. Laugh out loud. That's when we was talking about the migrants in New York. Jimmy, thank you. Says Elon is Lex Luthor. I think so.
I don't think he is.
I think he's fooling us because he's showing us the good side.
I don't think he's Lex Luthor. You know why? He could be like George Soros. See, George Soros is trying to control stuff.
George Soros, he's evil.
Yeah, well, see, Musk is right out in front. He put himself in with PayPal.
So Elon is a George Soros for the Republican Party.
With Tesla. He got SpaceX, so humanity will have a way off the planet if it wants it. He got X he controls so that he can guarantee free speech.
Elon is George Soros for the Republican Party.
Expand into artificial intelligence. He might come up with Skynet. Who knows? But
you be riding Elon too much. All right, thank you.
Around it is just very few people in his circumstances do what he does to at least give lip service.
Let us leave Elon balls alone for right now. So
no, it's just
okay. I want to move on. I want to move on.
Somebody's saying the right thing, which
I don't care.
so rare. Everybody's so scared to say it.
One old guy's opinion: the CNN panel member couldn't file any suits against the Democrat-run White House for a pay raise. She knows not to bite the hand that feeds her. Well, why would you not want to bite the hand that is shortchanging you? See that, and that's another stuck on stupid. You know that administration is making sure that you're not being equally paid, so they create DEI, and it still doesn't help you, but you don't want to bite that hand.
And and you're a dumb bunny on
Starving
top.
you. Yeah, that hand is starving you. So why not chop it off? Again, one old guy's opinion. South Africa is a BRICS member. That is the bottom line. U.S. aid money is not needed in South Africa. They signed on with BRICS as a founding member. The S in BRICS is South Africa. Yes, we know this. But with that said, they have a backing. So yeah, I get it. So, like you said, Judge, we don't need to be in it, stay out of it. So, and that includes Elon. Thank you, one old guy's opinion. Again, deep state got the judge again. I guess that's when your phone went black. Faith is all we need. The judge ain't died.
Yeah.
He's older and retired. Let him have some fun. That's all he
ready to die.
No, she's saying that you ain't died. Well, you ain't dead. You're older and you're retired, so let you have fun. I can't control him. He does what he want to do, and he does have fun. He has so much fun that he would sit up here and not let me know ahead of time that he ain't coming on the show because he's busy. He's having so much fun that he's rude to me.
I'm trying to get some nookie.
101 guy's opinion. Again, thank you so much. He says, correcting my BRICS statements, South Africa became a member in 2010. BRICS then renamed BRICS when South Africa joined. Trump stated he would deal with BRICS members, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and many more. He did say that, yeah.
Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and now a host of others, to offset the United States in its control of the world's economies. So, yeah, we want to help that out. That's dumb.
This is the last thing I want to bring up. It says, federal judge halts Trump administration plan to transfer detained Venezuelan migrants to Guantanamo Bay. Should a judge be allowed to stop the transfer of illegal aliens out of the country?
Yes, but it doesn't mean it'll stand long.
Why is he blocking them from going to Guantanamo?
I haven't read his opinion. It's a temporary injunction. He hasn't blocked them. It's just until they have a hearing. Hold up until we have a hearing.
So it says a federal judge in New Mexico has issued a restraining order preventing the Trump administration from transferring 3 detained Venezuelan immigrants to Guantanamo Bay Naval Base in Cuba. The individuals in question held in New Mexico have argued against their association with the Tren de Aragua gang, which federal agents allege. This legal action halts the Trump administration's recent policy of sending migrants to Guantanamo Bay, sparking debates over immigration policy and judicial oversight.
I'm sure there are other federal district courts that will rule to the contrary. It's going up to, I think, the 9th Circuit, and it'll go up probably to the 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And it'll quickly wind up in front of the U.S. Supreme Court because there will be conflicting decisions. See, judges are human, but you're relying on somebody who's supposed to be wise in the ways of the world, learned and experienced in law, and that isn't always the case. So you have the same spectrum of judges that you have ordinary people. Some are fools, some are wise, and a whole lot in between.
And with that, good night, everybody.
Get you some barbecue sauce so you can practice for the long, hot summer.
Yeah, we're going to have a talk about that. But I'll tell you later.
All right.
All right. Thank you guys. First of all, thank you everybody that sent in a donation. Love you, love you, love you. Most of all to my moderators. Catalia. I don't know what happened to Southern Belle, honey. But love you, Catalia. Everybody in the chat, everybody watching, everybody on X. Thank you guys so much. Please like, please share this show, this video. And I did almost reach my goal, but that's fine. Stay tuned. Oh, tomorrow's X. So you're gonna be around tomorrow night for X Space Tuesdays. Judge Joe Brown hosts this X Space. You'll see me by myself, Dana with the Data podcast on Wednesday. You will see an upload on Thursday with the judge, Injustice for All. Yeah. And you got to let me know the new platform that you and Valerie is doing the show so I could promote that as well.
It's pre-recorded. I think she's got a place to deal with it because you can't get through iHeart or Blog Talk Radio.
Where is she uploading the pre-record at?
I don't know where she's doing it. Just Soros blocked everybody that isn't on the far left.
All right, well, keep me up to date so I could promote where
And
she
by
drops.
the way, I'm doing a regular article with Pace Magazine in Los Angeles. It's the only Black-owned weekly publication out there.
Okay, cool. You got to send me the information for that website link so I could direct people to go.
I think I made 4 submissions. 3 of them have been.
You sent me one of them, so I'll share that. Okay. All right, cool. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining, and that's it. Really?
What?
And you know what he's about to do? He's about to go sit in his favorite chair and watch military documentaries.
No,
Not even
I'm gonna
military
go
movies, he watch
watch
documentaries.
Ryan.
Huh?
I'm gonna watch Jack Ryan, another episode. I've been binging on it. I binged through Banshee, the series, which was very interesting. Dune Prophecy is through for the season.
Guan B, I had his X and my X account scrolling across the screen all show long. It is at Judge Joe Brown TV on X. Mine at the Real Dana #7. It was scrolling across the screen all show. Come on. All right, I gotta wrap it up because I still got a little bit of editing to do after this. Let's see the sword.
Oh.
Where's that? Where did you get it from?
Royal Armories in England.
That's what I was about to say. Was it from England? All right. All right,
It's
guys.
Probably Italian, but
All
a
right.
week thing. It was for polite wear around the cities.
Say good night.
Good night.
Good night.